military school won't be so bad.
I will call you every day. You'll see. The year will go by fast.
But it really was the truck.
Rated P for teen.
There's Dave Goodrich. He says, run while you can. I worked with Dave Goodrich on Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal Black, and he made Vigilante 8. You got a celebrity there in the chat. Look at Popo says, cringe boomer. It's Bobo.
Well, that was much faster than I expected. I need to make harder subscription goals in the future. The channel reached the extra 75 sub goal in less than a week, and it went a little past it to 140 at the time of this recording. Mime's cut ending video did well for an obscure, relatively unknown Twisted Metal character. 1,900 views, over 95 comments, and 250 likes is not bad. Not bad at all for my small channel. I seem to get twice as many views as I have subs. Not sure what to make of that yet. So, here we are again. This time it's Trapper. This only leaves a few cut endings to go, namely Grasshopper, Piecemeals, and a mystery character. I'm not going to count Axel's cut ending since that can be found online. I wonder if Trapper will beat Mime's video. If he does, I suspect he'll answer my question, who is my most popular addition to the Twisted Metal franchise? But then again, I would have to add Piecemeal in there. Hopefully we get to him. Anyway, let's get this thing started and dive into Trapper and his cut ending. Who is Trapper? Where did this new character come from? And how is he supposed to fit in the Twisted Metal universe? I found some old notes from early Trapper explorations for the PS2 version that was going to be thematically similar to the other PS1 Twisted Metals in character and tone. This was before Sony directed us to create a kid-friendly version of Twisted Metal known as Small Brawl. Trapper's grittier bio was described as an old man, a big game hunter forced into retirement due to the lack of large prey. He starts hunting people to satisfy his need for a challenge. Yeah, that's a very predictable backstory for a hunter. I'm glad this was changed for the Small Brawl version. As I mentioned in my previous Mime video, Small Brawl was a radical change in the direction of the series, and this gave me some freedom to put my stamp on the series. I wanted to create some new additions that would fit the child-friendly vision of the game, and as you might expect, I kiddied up Trapper and made him more PG-13. As mentioned in my previous video, despite early pushback on the new characters, we compromised by hiding them as hidden unlocks in the game. Trapper was going to be one of 3 secret characters with his car parts hidden throughout the levels. Collecting all the parts of his vehicle would unlock the playable version. This idea was scrapped early on in development along with the others. Also in that video, Piecemeal and Mime had new homes when Minion was cut, leaving Trapper as the only hidden car part vehicle, but now he felt out of place as a secret one-off. So I decided to promote him to a mid-boss and remove that system altogether. Trapper's vehicle was not always the menacing truck we all know today. I found something I'd forgotten about. Trapper's initial design had a radically different look. I didn't know what I was looking at when I popped open my old modeling files at first. However, 22-year-old 3ds Max files don't lie, and it jogged my memory. Check this out. This was originally Trapper's vehicle. He was going to be a smaller, less menacing car before he became a mid-boss. When Trapper was promoted to boss status, I felt the small stature of his vehicle was not menacing enough to be a boss. Remember when I talked about good silhouette design in my last video? Yeah, this is not the silhouette of a boss. So changes needed to be made, and I got to work. I recalled an interesting military vehicle we had for Vigilante 8 Second Offense, Padre Destino's half-track, a combination between a truck and a tank. I didn't want to copy that vehicle's design, so I looked for inspiration in other military vehicles. Having been a contractor at the Pentagon and involved in briefings that funded the Humvee, I had a general knowledge of some military vehicles that would be unique to the Twisted Metal universe and started my search. However, while looking for some new Twisted Metal vehicles, I stumbled upon inspiration from an unlikely place, the back of a hobby magazine. I found an RC Safari truck. It was perfect. I found my truck. The old Safari truck design, a 6x6 World War II troop transport, had a similar silhouette of the half-track and fit very well with Trapper's theme, as these vehicles were used as a safari truck back in the day. I now had a direction and redesigned his vehicle to be a bigger, more daunting safari truck you see today. I did try to find the old ad for this vehicle in the back of the magazine, but it's probably lost to time at this point. So what happened to Trapper's original car design? Those with a keen eye have probably figured it out. It became a hand-me-down between not one, not two, but 3 characters before it found a home. We now had a freed-up Doom Buggy design. This put Grasshopper back on the menu as a playable character. As I now had a vehicle and her concept art, we modified the geometry and textures to be more like Grasshopper's original design. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to code her special or make her ending cinematic, taking her right back off the menu. Remember, this is Small Brawl, a shoestring budget title where we use every scrap of art, code, and geometry we can. And this was no exception. If you see my previous videos, you know where this is going. Warthog had concept art and an ending cinematic, but no vehicle model yet. As they say, third time is a charm, and Trapper's Doom Buggy found another home. We reworked the textures, adding camouflage paint plus stars and bars to make it feel more like a light desert military vehicle that fit his theme a little better. And Warthopper was born. I know it's not a tank or a Humvee, but suck it up, soldier, it was the only way not to cut you. We now had a vehicle design for mini-boss Trapper, but what about the special weapon to go along with it? As for Trapper's special, Trapper originally had a flat-card boomerang as his main weapon. The special was going to briefly pin a vehicle to the ground with a direct hit, allowing the smaller boomerangs to split off to have a greater chance to hit on return. Visually, the boomerang didn't read well, or fit with the toy theme. Not to mention Trapper's theme was more of a Saharan big game hunter. The boomerang felt out of place since this originated in Australia, creating a disconnected theme. So I removed the boomerang and switched it to a barrel of monkeys to embrace the toy feel of Small Brawl. Why a barrel of monkeys? I don't know. Small Brawl got wacky at times. Just go with it. I also added some depth to the geometry, making it easier for players to see on approach, and added the iconic monkey sound. Trapper's Safari Truck version originally had a tinted cab, but we removed it to show some barrels sitting in the back. However, much like the sea monkeys we tried to use in Ratchet & Clank Size Matters, we had to remove the barrels to reduce potential trademark issues. A single monkey was probably safe, but the monkey plus the iconic barrels would have been legally too risky to pull off. One mechanic of Trapper's special that did get cut along with the boomerang visuals was its ability to carry back any weapons, pickups, power-ups, even health that it collided with, taking them back to Trapper, allowing him to steal these items from a distance, denying the player critical resources while refilling his. His special also had some bugs we couldn't fix in time. Like many Twisted Metal games, some weapons would have issues going up and down ramps, including several Small Brawl characters like Sweet Tooth's Ice Cream, causing the weapon to stutter as it forces its way up the incline. I recall Twisted Metal 2's Shadow had similar issues on inclines. I wonder if this was a code quirk from the single track guys who built the engine both for Twisted Metal 1 and 2 and also Small Brawl. As many people know, a good boss needs a level that fits its theme. What level would fit a big game hunter? Out of our selection, Mini Golf Mayhem seemed like a really good fit for Trapper. However, some modifications were needed so that the new boss could function in the mini golf level. The biggest issue was the Mayan pyramid steps. He would often get trapped navigating down the pyramid steps, making this fight trivial, so we smoothed out the steps into ramped sides. We also had to section off the level during the boss fight because players could endlessly run from Trapper until they had full health and weapons. With these tweaks, things were falling into place for our new boss. This brings us to the playable version. Trapper is one of the playable bosses in the game, making him fairly special. That being said, I seem to have screwed the pooch with a smaller playable version and nerfed the heck out of the poor guy. In my defense, the playable version was smaller for a reason. The larger boss sizes on levels like Nature Maker, Treetop Rumble, and Easy Death Oven often created a whole lot of bugs we didn't have time to fix. Don't even get me started on levels like Buster Lanes. The boss-sized vehicles couldn't go into certain areas or would get permanently stuck inside level geometry like the kitchen counter. The bridge on Treetop Rumble was particularly troublesome for the giant vehicles. With the development time we had left, the easiest way to get the playable bosses past somebody's QA was to shrink them to the sizes closer to the other player vehicles, ensuring they'd be able to function within the levels without many issues. However, as I mentioned before, I also reduced their special damage, health, and energy meters. Why'd I do that? I don't know. Probably to match their new sizes. The final days of Small Brawl were kind of a blur. In hindsight, this was not one of my better design decisions, given the player's disappointment at Trapper's lackluster playable version and the difficulty in unlocking him. So what does the mysterious Trapper look like? A kid dressed like a big game hunter? A deranged cannibal? Nah, we didn't have resources or time for extra character concept art. As some of you already guessed, Trapper's this guy. If you saw my dark side cut ending, you know he swapped his concept art, thus freeing up the mass version of Darkside. Trapper was a kid imitating a big game hunter, and the art kind of looked like a tribal mask. The mask was also similar to the headhunters in Mini Golf Mayhem, tying him further into that level's theme. Darkside's old concept still needed some finishing touches to look more tribal, so we recolored it, added some face paint markings, and now the old Darkside character concept had been repurposed and reworked to become Trapper. I was really starting to like him. Trapper was shaping up to be a good character in the Twisted Metal universe, and we wanted to bring him into future Small Brawl titles, including the Cut Paint Brawl prototype, a first-person shooter using the Small Brawl characters as teams, fighting in Calypso's paintball tournament. We started this spin-off right after we finished Twisted Metal Black Online, hashtag the best version of Twisted Metal Black. Here's an old concept of Teenage Trapper, when we were exploring an older, more menacing version of him. Dang, we even had heads hanging from his spear. This is some dark art. He was also prominently displayed on the cover art of the Paint Brawl design document seen here. Too bad that project was canceled early in development. It was an interesting direction for the franchise. We got as far as making some 3D character models and a few levels and some mechanics, but Sony decided this was not the future of the franchise. Whew, that is a lot of deep Trapper lore. So let's get into what you've been waiting for. Without further delay, here's Trapper's rough cut animatic. Enjoy.
Oh, great!
I won your tournament, Calypso!
I know. What do you want?
I want to have a real challenge! I want to hunt the most dangerous prey in town!
Let me guess, you want to hunt people.
People? I caught half the people in town! I caught the mailman twice today, and now you! I want a real challenge! I want to trap... Granny!
Granny? Are you crazy?
Can you keep our deal or not?
Yeah, I know where she is. Careful what you wish for.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No!
Are we there yet?
Shh. There she is.
I always wondered, why is she called Granny?
How would I know? Because she's old?
Or because she has a lot of grandkids?
Whoa!
Watch it!
Granny was a sewer alligator? Yep. Back in the 80s, we had tons of stories of pet alligators flushed down the toilet, surviving and growing to monstrous sizes. There was even a decent B-movie called Alligator from the 1980s. I based this ending on. I was tempted to call the alligator Granny Dread as a nod to TM3 for this video, but I stayed true to my original notes. Another grisly ending for the Small Brawl kids. Hashtag Small Brawl is the most gruesome Twisted Metal. As I have mentioned before, if this ending had made it to production, I'm positive there would have been some back and forth between Sony and Incog team to soften it up, for the ending to be a little bit more kid-friendly, but you lucky folks get to see it in the raw. As usual, I appreciate everyone for watching this far. As many of you know, piecemeal's the next sub-goal. You guys hit this goal a little too fast, so let's make it a real challenge. How about 1,500 subs to my YouTube channel for the next Small Brawl cut ending? Is Piecemeal's driver Calypso, as many of you speculated? Or not? Who knows? Well, I do. And you will too, eventually. As usual, subscribe, share, and comment to help push me up in the algorithm so I know that people want more of these cut content videos. That's all I have for Trapper. Bye for now. Subscribe and like, you dirty monkeys. This mysterious hunter has a devastating special monkey attack. He can't resist the thrill of the hunt, no matter how dangerous. Watch out, he is relentless.
On behalf of all of us who made the Twisted Metal games, and there were quite a few of us, not as much as it takes to make a game today, but back then we had probably a team of about 30 people. You know what, let me tell you something. Now, the first Twisted Metal was probably only about 14 people. Sold at least full price, 600,000. You do the math, only because I can't do math so good. Vigilante 8 says Wallace had 5 people. Well, yeah, but you know, that's what happens when you choose not to put gameplay in your game.
Oh, Jaffe. I may have to address this in a future video.
The only game I ever played was Vigilante 8, and I played that with Jamie. That's kind of how we bonded, you know, and came up with Gorillaz while playing Vigilante 8.